Hi everybody, it's me again. Today I want to speak about the wisdom of receiving grace from a man or a woman of God, somebody that has been graced by God. So it is possible to encounter a man or a woman of God, even if it's family, even if it's a close friend, or even if it's a pastor or any human being. It is possible to encounter them and not be helped by them, and have the grace that is on their lives not work for you. What could cause that? What causes that is familiarity. When you become too familiar with the man of God, that you can no longer perceive their spiritual nature. Or when you focus too much on the physical nature of a man or a woman of God, whether it's due to familiarity or due to maybe their mistakes where they missed it. Those are two ways, well, maybe there's more ways, but those are two ways to miss out on big grace, on a man or a woman of God that has a lot of grace on their lives. Maybe grace for healing, grace for prosperity, grace for just increase in the spirit. Remember in the Bible, the people of, is it Nazareth? They couldn't partake on the grace of the Lord Jesus because they were too familiar with him. They knew him as the carpenter's son, so it was hard for them to stomach the fact that this can actually be the Messiah, because they saw him grow up in front of them. They saw him do carpentry with his dad. They know his dad. Matter of fact, maybe they didn't even respect his dad that much. So it was hard for them to think something great can come out of that family because of how maybe low they appeared to be, you know. So if you check also in the Bible, the apostles had character flaws. They were not perfect people. They had character flaws, but in the spirit they were graced. They had so much grace in the spirit, but they had character flaws. You understand what I'm saying? So in order for us to be wise in this world, let's not just flow with every wind. Let's not be taken by every wind. When they say, yo, this person did this, yo, this person did that, maybe there's still the grace of God in that person that can help you. You stay out of, let's learn to stay out of gossip. Let's learn to stay out of drama and all those things. If you know that a man or a woman of God is graced and has a grace over his life that has helped you before, and that you know can still help you, it still functions. Forget what the media say. Forget what people say. Forget what the news, forget what the gossip says about that man or a woman of God, and cling on the grace that is on their lives. Because what they do in closed doors or in their private lives has nothing to do with you. It really doesn't. You just cling on what is of Christ, and the rest, leave it to God to deal with it. God can still save those people. You just pray for them, but cling on the grace of God that still exists in their lives. So what am I saying with all this? My point is, stop looking at the physical nature, because when you do that, when you focus on the physical nature of a person, the character and all those things, you will miss God in a man. You will miss the grace of God in a man. Sometimes you think, nah, that's just my brother, what can he do? Nah, that's just my friend, what can they do? You don't know the grace of God that is on their lives, and you need to cling on that. You need to take advantage of that, and the only way for you to do that, it is to put away what you know. Put away the physical nature of a man, because not even the only person who never missed it in the Bible that I remember is Job. Job was tested and all that, and he never missed it. But everybody else was a weirdo. They missed it. They were not perfect, but they were graced. And those who didn't focus on their past, those who didn't focus on their mistakes and the things that they once did, or how they were, just like Elisha. Elisha destroyed kids just because they said bald head, meaning that he was not really a good person like that. But he was graced. He had grace over his life, that if you focus on how horrible he can be, you would miss it. You would miss the grace over his life. So let's learn to be able to separate between the human being and the spirit that lives in a human. Thank you very much. Love y'all.